So what I wanted to reflect a little bit, and it's really a reflection with you. It's not that I have any intention to provide answers. Partly because I don't have the answers, and partly because I more and more believe that we are actually living in times, in challenging, in difficult times, where we have to collectively come together and find out our responses, speak about our responses. I spoke earlier with a friend, and it's like really this question for me is less and less. Didn't actually plan to say it, but now I'm saying it. For me, the question is less and less. How do we respond to turn things around? More and more, how can we respond when the going gets tough? Yeah. I come from a very privileged background, I think, speaking globally, not necessarily in my country, but globally. And up to now, I had the privilege not to show up to life when it gets really difficult. And I think there's something in me that really thinks, probably we have to gear up to something in the coming years and decades. I hope this is not too much a downer. So, when it gets difficult, many of us will have the habitual, absolutely understandable tendency, when we lose our ground, when it gets a little bit difficult, and again, personally, globally, and so forth, we have the habitual tendency to place ourselves, to find some sense of ground, some sense of certainty by creating very often limiting and separating narratives. Does it make sense when I'm saying this? Them. Us. Whoever the us is will be changing, changing according to where we are. Them, us, the good ones and the bad ones. The righteous ones and the not righteous one. Which is somehow a perpetuation of the same narrative. So my question is really, how can we plant wholesome seeds of intention, wholesome seeds of creative imagination that overcome these human tendencies, that bow with respect and compassion to it, but that is also able to awaken a way that serves a healing maybe, or a transformation, a way to find a way that awakens our creativity, to maybe surprise ourselves with new ways of responding. Because I think, probably I'm not the only one, I think this is really needed. So how can we support our individual, and I think even more important, our collective creativity? Our collective creativity and imagination, where we can deeply respect, honor, and explore, and become aware of our limitations, of our habitual tendencies of shrinking, of othering, of shaming, of blaming us, other, where we can deeply respect, honor also our potential for creativity and imagination, which are both expression of our humanity, are expression of the amazing capacity of this human heart mind for receptivity and sensitivity. Any ideas? And I mean, this is not a rhetorical question. Any ideas here right now? How can we do this? Yes?
I think the first step would be to come back to yourself.
Come back to yourself. Come back to this body, mind, and heart. Yeah, and becoming aware what we are doing, isn't it? Becoming aware of our intentions, of our responses, of our patterns, of our dynamics, absolutely. So we have to be present to ourselves. Yeah, great. Any other idea? Yes, please.
Like what he's saying, the idea of them and me, or them and us. How do you get rid of that? Because they have got a different opinion, you don't like their opinion, and yet maybe you want to make friends with them, but you want to respect them.
Yeah, so just say a little bit louder. So how do we overcome this separateness where we can allow diversity, where we can allow multiplicity of view, without going, it's not your words, but without starting to hate each other. Yeah, great question. Yeah, Devin.
So it's related to coming back to ourselves, something about being curious about our own intention, but also being conscious about our intention. I think we can be clear and conscious about what we want.
Yeah, great, wonderful. So like parks this we can already take home as notes. So I just want to look a little bit, just really touching shortly in this human condition. Here we are born into this instrument, of immense potential, in this instrument of immense receptivity, in this instrument of immense sensitivity, So I really wanna name the beauty of what it may mean to be born into this body. I said now several times the words receptivity and sensitivity. So one thing we will discover if we become more present to ourselves is that we are impacted. We are impacted by life, we are impacted by each other. I'm impacted by the weather, I'm impacted how you look at me, I'm impacted how you respond, I'm impacted by a lot of things right now. We are impacted by our personal situation, we are impacted by our global situation, we are impacted by the bigger field we are in it. We are impacted right now, probably in very different ways, by the fact that we are on the Buddha Field Festival. Yeah. It's lovely that you start laughing when I said it's like the delight, And I think part, why we come to places like the Buddha Field Festival is that there is a certain co-creation of conditions where this heart-mind can arise and resonate differently maybe from our normal day-to-day limited way of arising and resonating. So there's some knots here. And we love it. We love it. Sometimes it's a little bit edgy, because we don't know what we let ourselves into. But we love to come to places where we can surprise ourselves, isn't it? Where we can arise differently. We love to come to places where this heart mind can relax, can be open, can, coming to talk like this, can be maybe nourished, can be maybe inspired and learned, and also can be stretched. This is part of it, where we are a little bit challenged, but we are challenged in a way that is hopefully happening in a way where we are not shrinking in fear when we ask to stretch, but where we feel, it's possible for me to do this here. So we all will arrive, and this is what I mean, this really isn't going a little bit deeper when I say we are impacted. We all will arise in particular ways in this context. And we all will find our way with the weather, we will find our way in this co-created culture, being with each other and on this land. And hopefully it's a space where we don't have yet another framework where we somehow have to contort ourselves to fit in. Hopefully not. I'm actually a visitor to Buddha field. It's not my lineage, my culture. So I'm finding my way, and I love it. It looks pretty diverse. I don't feel that I have to walk around and sniff exactly out what is expected and how to say something, how not to say something else, and so forth. Yeah. What I have a sense, though, when I come here from whatever culture I come from, is what I get a sense is that there is a shared intention of non-harming, a shared intention of caring. There is a shared intention of inquiry. There is also a shared intention of celebration, letting the hair down, a shared intention of ritual, of celebrating beauty, human beauty. All this will have an impact on our heart mind. All this will have an impact on what is called in the Buddhist terms citta, on our citta, which can be translated with heart, with mind, and I think actually the best translation for citta is heart-mind. This is what is being worked on. This is what resonates, what is sensitive. That is what actually shivers in contact with life. The heart-mind is the receptivity, the sensitivity of our humanness that is receptive to suggestion, intentions, images, perceptions, ways of dreaming, ways of imagining different ways. Citta is that what is affected. A teacher who's actually now teaching in Gaia House, which is my background, Ajahn Suchita, and I found it really beautiful. He did find the function of the citta is not to judge or to control, but to resonate. And we do resonate if we are aware of it or not. We resonate in fear if we come into a room where it feels a little bit hostile. We resonate with a more opening, relaxing attitude if we come into a room where it feels where it feels safe. So the heart mind is constantly shaped. It's constantly shaped. Moment by moment, it's constantly resonating. And vice versa, what is held in our awareness is also always perceived, impacted by what is actually happening in the heart mind. Does it make sense? Yeah. Whatever we hold in our consciousness will impact us, and our very way of holding it will impact what we hold in our consciousness. So I just really want to point out this beautiful, beautiful dynamic. So we're recognizing that everything we do, we think, we believe, we assume, our belief systems, our cultural shapings, has an impact on how we arise and will also impact how something is arising in our awareness. Does it make sense? I mean, like, does it make sense? Not just here, yeah? So now I'm making now a slight jump. Because the heart mind is so sensitive, so receptive, so open to suggestions, images, invitations, and intentions, you know, we can actually, this is a big part of wisdom practices, like intentionally shaping the arising of the heart mind. And I want to spend a moment with the word intention. So the title of the talk, Right Intention, Right Imagination. So those who have been around a little bit, they will be familiar that intention, skillful intention, the Pali word for it is Samma Sankappa. When we look actually at the word, and sometimes I love it, so I don't know Pali. I love language, but I love it when someone unpicks the name, and then this is unpicks a word, a particular term, and in this unpicking, whole other worlds open up. I love this, and someone did this with the word Sankappa. It comes from the Pali word, so now I'm reading, kapeti, which means neither to intend, nor to think. But this is how it's translated. But actually the word, kapeti, the root word, doesn't translate as this. But according to the dictionary, it means to cause, to create, to construct, to prepare, to arrange, to order. It's a very different slant on it. Yeah. The word kapeti is related to another word which is vikalpa in Sanskrit, which means to construct, to imagine. So this is where the title comes, Right Intention, Right Imagination. Skillfully imagination. So the perspective which comes here is like, how can we then hold something that isn't entrenched in binaries like of right, wrong, and so forth. What is something for me, like something when I first heard, really lightens up, right imagination. There is a sense of creativity. There is a sense of the permission to think radically different. Yeah. And hopefully on a basis, that is deeply interested in how to live skillfully in this world. How to live skillfully in the world which is based on the qualities of compassion, kindness, and so forth. So I was actually going down another tangent, but I just want to pick something up. So where I very often use, when I'm teaching, the word clear intention, is when I teach any practices around this invitation for the heart mind, the citta, to arise, to resonate in the qualities of kindness, of compassion, of joyfulness, of equanimity. Yeah. We are very often here, we're sowing seeds of intention. When we are engaging in these practices, we're sowing seeds of intention. We do not know exactly what will happen, but we're inclining the heart mind into the direction to resonate in this way. Because we know, or we can trust hopefully more and more, or we get to know more and more that this heart mind is able to resonate in these ways. It's never you should, or you have to change your personality, but or you have to become you have to attain a better personality, but is an invitation for the heart mind to resonate in particular transforming, healing, liberating frequencies. When I then just make this slight shift in my practice of, I have this intention to right imagination. Again, for me, something slightly additionally opens up. So I hope I can formulate this. Very often, from my whole experience, from my own experience, when teaching the qualities of kindness, compassion, and so forth, Brahma Vihara, the divine abidings, what comes up for practitioners is I should not, I must not. Oh, I am so unkind. I should be kinder. Yeah. Do you recognize this? Yeah. Yeah. And something which is actually potentially absolutely onward leading and liberating, suddenly becomes something we take as a good opportunity to tell us once again how insufficient we are and how incomplete our practice is. What about, we hold the intention, yes, we have like the normal, the maybe more common meaning of the word intention, but also give it this creative permission to imagine what may be possible for this heart. What may be possible for this heart. Yes, here it is. It is contracted in anger and fear. You know, I'm just a little bit contracted. Do I make sense? Yeah, because I left my notes. You know, can I allow myself, you know, again, do you see the different quality when I bring in, can I imagine myself to resonate in this way? Do you feel the difference? Can you say a little bit about what the difference is? Because can you...
I don't feel ready to talk, but I understand what...
Yeah. Anyone who can feel a difference, like what is happening here?
Well, it's an expansion.
It's an expansion, yeah. It's an expansion.
Not judging the experience.
Not judging the experience, yeah. Yeah.
I think for myself, an instant forgiveness.
An instant forgiveness. Okay, so it's more dynamic, isn't it? Would you say it has a more dynamism in it? Or?
Yeah, I don't know how.
But there is an instant forgiveness, yeah.
When I remember.
When I remember, yeah. Any other comments? It's slight different from I imagine my heart to be able to resonate in this way. Anyone? There is a relief. Yeah. So I think it can really, it's a subtle way. You know, it can really open up something in how we approach this whole area of cultivation in our practice. Yeah, right imagination. Yeah. It's like the possibility to imagine that this consciousness, no matter how contracted it is right now, how stuck it is right now, it can arise in these ways. I may not know how. I may even not know exactly how it will look like, how it will show up, what it will mean. Yeah, there's also an openness in this. Because also very often when we have this, I'm practicing now, let's say kindness, we have very often, sometimes subconsciously, certain ideas about how we then will show up. Yeah? If I were a kind person, then I would. And this I'm not doing, therefore I'm not a kind person. Yeah? Or as a kind person will always, this was my image, some of you might heard me say, like I will wear white and I will always smile. This was for me kindness, you know, so yes, and very benign and very soft-spoken, you know. So in this opening up, you know, we can actually enter, like a direction, but there is also like a creative, inviting uncertainty. There's an uncertainty. Hopefully an uncertainty that is actually helpful to bring forth creative responses, creative arisings we might not even expect. You know, there is this really human wish, a human need for some degree of certainty. There's a real human wish, a human need for some degree of safety. Nothing wrong with this. Nothing wrong with this. You know, we need this. We need some kind of sense of safety to be able to relax and release, to become more fully aware of this body, mind, and heart, to lend more fully into this receptive, sensitive, intelligent instrument we call this body, mind, and heart. It's absolutely important. Acknowledging this, but also knowing and seeing again and again, if we meet a more and more uncertain world, when we are only able to meet a more and more uncertain world from a place from certainty, we're actually really limiting us. So how, again, this is, I have no answer. I would like to get some responses. I have some, I just is really a feeling into it. How to acknowledge that responses, that we will ask, again, probably also in our day-to-day life already more than enough, we are asked to respond from a place of uncertainty. We don't know the outcome. We don't know what is the best. We are a little bit at sea. We don't know what is right or wrong. Yeah. What would this mean? How can we support each other in this? Any ideas? Or any reflections on this? Anyone?
Can you repeat the question?
No, probably not. I will try. It's a really honest no. I can't repeat the question. So I think my question is, when we are asked for responses, I speak from myself, I feel more comfortable when I come from a certain place of certainty. Yeah. However, this might not be always accessible. This might not be the truth of a situation. It might feel quite uncertain. So we are in a territory of uncertainty. How to respond from this place? Yeah?
One thing which comes to mind for me is this idea of beginner's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Here I have this mantra I'm sometimes telling myself, which is I do my best, or doing my best, then laughing and saying, I don't know. So this I tell myself this quite often because it combines this striving to do the best, but still admitting that I actually don't know what's best. And so
Beautiful.
the laughing kind of helps me.
Yeah, the humor, the lightness of the humor, absolutely, such an important quality. Did everyone hear this? So, say it again. I just want to repeat it into the whole. It's
Doing
really
the
beautiful.
best.
I do my best.
Laugh. I do my best, laugh,
Laugh.
and say I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. So this is actually like a beautiful combination of several qualities, isn't it? This I do my best is the quality I care. I want to come from a place of deep care. Yeah. The laughter is like the lightness of humor. Yeah, probably again we can feel it in many different ways, but humor again has a light spaciousness. It's a little bit, it's playful. Yeah, we don't get too and not taking oneself too seriously. Yeah, and then the I don't know. again, we maintain like an openness. We are not so much, again, this is now my interpretation, tell me if I'm wrong, please. So this is, I don't know, it could be, I don't know what the outcome will be. I have no guarantee if this is, is according to what I might even not understand the whole situation.
And I don't even know what's best.
And I don't even know what's best. Yeah. And I don't even know what's best. So how do you show up to life then? Because this is what we are asked to, isn't it? How do we show to life then?
Trying to have, like, to hold pure intentions.
To hold pure intentions,
like,
yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
acting from a place of love and compassion for the world.
Yeah,
But yeah, at the same time, seeing that often things don't go exactly how we want them, and that how we want them, we don't even know if that would be the best way it could go.
Yeah.
And so, no matter what happens, it's in some point of view, it's also perfect.
great. So it's really holding quite contradictory standpoints there, isn't it?
Yes, and one thing which comes to mind over and over in the last months or years is that very often for big truths it means we have to hold two things at the same time. Which might seem opposite.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, thank you. Great, really beautiful. Any other responses? Yeah, please.
It's just a sense of surrender,
Surrendering, yeah, yeah. And again, in this surrendering, I assume it's like this opening and receptivity of the heart. Yeah, it's not like a I'm collapsing, but here I am, with this vulnerable, sensitive heart. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Anyone else, please?
You also say, when in doubt, wait.
When in doubt, wait.
Not wait, wasting your time, but wait with awareness
Yeah.
and listen to your inner guide, your inner voice.
Yeah. Okay, so when in doubt, wait, and this waiting is not just passive,
Not passive wait.
but it's a listening, it's a tuning in. It's like, what wants to happen here? What can I pick up? What wants to happen? Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I really support that. So sort of just don't take any action. But what I will sort of look for, well, intentionally or unintentionally, like see what unfolds.
Yeah.
And like synchronicity, like things will kind of, if I can be okay to sort of not force things or grab things or close down, then things actually just unfold in a way that I kind of might have known within, but might not even have dared to imagine.
Great. Did everyone hear this? Yeah? Beautiful. What I hear also in both implicitly, but it might not be, this is what, it's like this, even also with the surrendering actually, it's like I'm placing myself in something bigger. Yeah? So like the container becomes like I'm placing, it's really the best way right now for me to say, I'm placing myself in something bigger.
Trusting the universe.
Yeah. You call trusting the universe, but also like here, I want to be, but we want to be sensitive to this. Yeah. Great, beautiful. Yeah.
Something I've experienced when I've like fully fell into how little certainty I have is it's like my energy was going like forward in time into this idea of certainty I had, and then as soon as I realized like, whoa, I have no certainty there, it like puts a dam that like fills up my present moment massively, like it just expands my experience of the present massively, and that doesn't have like a clear answer, but fruitful things always come from
Great. So it's a little bit what you said in the very beginning. We arrive actually more fully here. So the uncertainty is actually feels more real. Like this is actually what's happening.
Yeah, it just feels,
Yeah.
fills up like right now.
Oh,
like a
God.
vertical moment.
Yeah.
Suddenly instead of going horizontal, I'm like
Wonderful, beautiful, great. Yeah, please.
I think for me it's necessary to acknowledge when I'm in uncertainty that the fear and the vulnerability that I feel from having kind of no ground underneath my feet, maybe even the sorrow of that, considering the times.
Yeah,
There's a lot of grief
yeah,
in the uncertainty we're experiencing right now. But just to allow myself to feel that
yeah,
before moving on.
yeah. So it's like really, isn't it? It's like really the courage, actually, the courage and the faith to turn towards this, what is actually difficult right now. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, yeah. Devin.
Yeah, I really like some of the things people are feeding in, and a few people have hinted at it, but there's this, the only thing I'd really add is there's a quality of curiosity and attentiveness, and like, what is this? What next? You know, what's the appropriate response? This questioning of curiosity, which I find really answers to the presence, and maybe informs the response as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what I was going to touch on, that sometimes you do have to move forward with a degree of certainty in order to move things forward. And when you do that, I think it has to be made clear that it's done in a contextual way, in a contingent way, and this is subject to review. And it's about, like this lady over here said, and a lot of people have said, it's about then looking for that response within your body and waiting.
Yeah, so it's a life certainty. It's a make-do certainty for right now.
It's a for now.
Yeah,
So we can
yeah.
have some movement.
Yeah,
and that
great.
movement on reflection will dictate to you what
Yeah.
might need to happen next, or maybe
Yeah.
nothing needs to happen
Yeah.
next. But in order, sometimes you have to have a bit of movement and a bit of certainty to take one step to see if it's solid ground you're standing on, or another big
Yeah,
wall.
great. But I love it. It's not like this is how it is, but you know,
it's a
sometimes
continuing
it's lovely. I saw your face when you said this with a certainty. It was very, very. Great, thank you. Wonderful. Any other? I love it. You know, I should have. Is this recorded? Actually, I love it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think for me there's something in when I feel most certain, it's where I'm gripping most tightly to my views. And sometimes in my more skillful moments, when I'm able to loosen that grip and acknowledge that often if it's an interaction and there is someone else with a view, acknowledging that they are also have an attachment to their view, and if they're able to loosen that grip, that dance becomes easier and that polarization lessens, and that there is a beauty and a value in uncertainty. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think being able to move with uncertainty is really powerful.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. You know what I have really touched by your responses. I think this was a really beautiful for me to just sitting here and taking in the responses was for me like an expression what I love about collective wisdom. You know, it's just like. You know, what comes back, you know, and it's like we need each other also really to bring this forth in us, you know, and be reflected in this. So what I hear is it's like this movement of lending, you know, whatever the lending is, you know, in our uncertainty, in our difficulties, in our, you know, struggling with something, yeah, not knowing what to do. But even this not knowing what we do is actually something we can then land on, rather than making it, oh, I should know. Yeah, it's like, oh, I really don't know, a little bit what you alluded to. And then also this, I think another important element is placing in something bigger, which also means I don't have to figure it out. You know, I'm placing myself into something bigger. This listening in. There was more here, but another thing I want to want to also take out what someone said, I think it was you, was this holding of seeming opposites. You know, because very often, again, what we do when we feel uncertain, when our creative, our imaginary intelligence is shrinking in fear, what we do, we create either-ors and binaries. That's a good sign when we know, okay, now I'm having this, you know, it's this and that. Yeah, it's the either-or. Yeah. And a more imaginal way of holding, a more imaginal, intentionally ways of holding could be, it's this and this. Yeah, it's already wider. It's this and this. And how do we now dance the dance, a little bit what you referred to. And the third option, or second option in this is, it's neither nor. Which doesn't mean we reject both, but this is like even a bigger step. It's neither nor. So where does leave us? When we imagine this, where does this leave us? It's neither nor. Yeah. So when I do this, you know, I immediately feel myself like falling into my belly. Oop. You know, I don't know. It's neither nor, yeah. So what this was the intention of the question in the beginning, what to do when we are faced with uncertainty. And when we know that actually the only response to this has to come from this soil of uncertainty, not of a pretended certainty. Yeah, which we can also sometimes do, isn't it? You know, I really don't know, but now I'm just, you know, okay, yeah. And beautiful with all the different aspects which you shared. And I think what it all points to is really this courage and the discovery and the curiosity about what it may be to linger, to dwell, and even cherish, to be in a non-reactive openness, isn't it? Yeah. In a non-reactive openness, which might have tinges of fear, which might have tinges even sometimes of real anxiety, yeah. Can we allow this tinge? And it's not like, oh, I have to be really open and fine with everything, but this is the only way right now. This is the only way I can go. My heart wants to go, you know, but can I? And to do it again with so much tenderness, with so much tenderness, so much kindness, so much compassion, as we can muster in this moment. You know, no, this is, you know, this is like right now, this feels like more onward leading, because any movement of, absolutely understandable movement of reactivity, closing down, it's actually limiting, it's calcifying, it's solidifying, is trapping myself in that what is known. But the known right now is not the appropriate response anymore. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So how can we, this invitation, this coaxing ourselves, this inviting ourselves and each other in this non-receptive openness, so that then actually creative responses can arise from there. Yeah. And where there can a really, to really to actually come to a close. In this openness, what can also rise, and I think we all, in our own ways, big and small, know this, can arise very imaginative ways of how we can actually live this life. And with this, I mean also really collectively. It's not about, I'm going now and live on a Greek island and become a painter. Yeah, it's absolutely fine, but it's more we as being born in this time, we have to give ourselves this space to radically imagine something different. Yeah. I think I stop here, and I would love to spend with you a moment or so in silence. Maybe a couple of minutes. So letting yourself be received in your location. Letting yourself, as much as you are able to, be received in the holding of ground, of this space, of each other. Letting yourself be received in your location and also in the wider location of this yurt, the field, these times. letting yourself be received, allowing yourself to land in this amazing, wondrous, conflicting, at times extremely complex and difficult instrument of body, mind, and heart. And welcoming whatever resonance it is resonating, if this language works for you right now. It's a particular tune of your heart mind. Might be dull, might be bored, might be anxious, might be light, delighted, warm, calm. Might be agitated, tired. Maybe acknowledging for a moment in all the different or some of the different frequencies that arose today. So this is not so much about emphasis of anicca, of impermanence, but more to see, God, what an amazing instrument. We are blessed with, sometimes we feel cursed by or with. Resonating, shivering, being shaped, being impacted, impacting, being alive. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.